Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Walters. This is Mike Talks Sports, Season 2, Episode 3. Today, I'm going to be talking a lot about the NBA. Well, I'm really going to be talking about the Knicks and the versus the Cavs, how that game went, Nets versus the Hornets. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about Thibodeau's comments about the Knicks. So let's get this show on the road. All right, so right now, I'm going to start a little differently. I'm going to start with the Brooklyn Nets. Yes, they just recently played their first game of the season against the Charlotte Hornets. I am going to be honest, that game was over after the second quarter because it's like the Brooklyn Nets they were close throughout like the first two quarters, and it's like when halftime came, the Hornets just blew them out. I'm not gonna lie. The Hornets look like they improved significantly. Well, as long as LaMelo Ball can stay healthy, that team actually can go places. But I'm not here to talk about the Hornets. I'm here to talk about the Brooklyn Nets. I'm not gonna lie. With the way their team is constructed, I do not expect them to make the playoffs. They're currently in a rebuilding stage. I don't know. If I'm Michael Porter Jr., just take this one season to boost up your trade value and then ask for a trade somewhere else, because I'm just going to be honest, playing for Brooklyn, and if you're not playing for the Knicks, it is really like, it's heartbreaking. I'm just got to be honest. But not trying to say he should come to the Knicks. No, the Knicks have enough assets. I just feel like if Michael Porter Jr. wants to save his career or like be like a multi-year all-star, maybe staying with the Brooklyn Nets probably may be the best thing, even though I feel like it shouldn't be the best thing. But this is what he should do. In your first season in Brooklyn, try to average at least 25 points per game, because technically you are the best player in a team filled with a lot of young guys. So you and Terrence Mann, who is technically the eldest player at 29, which of course is very ironic, you both can be the leaders of this team. You both can average double figures, so that so that y'all could like boost up your trade value. And I feel like if they both do that, not only that, well, I'm not expecting the Nets to make the playoffs, but you never know. Maybe they could potentially make it to the play-in tournament. They may not win, but it's a very big improvement from their last two seasons. And also, who I noticed who's still on the roster is Cam Thomas. I'm not going to lie. He only signed 1-year contract to come back. I do not expect Cam Thomas to be on the Nets, I'll say, potentially past the trade deadline, or maybe even in the offseason. In the offseason, I feel like he's going to just sign up somewhere else, because I can tell, because of how his contract negotiations were going through the off season. I feel like because it took so long for him to sign, I can tell that he does not want to come back. And the Brooklyn Nets don't need you. You just go to another team. Maybe you should go on the Warriors in the off season, or maybe they should do a swap, him for Kuminga. But that's not going to happen, because obviously Brooklyn don't want Kuminga. So this is how I see the season going. Brooklyn may improve from their last season record, but I don't expect them to make the playoffs. This is still a rebuilding phase. And the front office literally just said their priority is the 2026 draft. So that's really like a hint that they're once again going to tank the season. And that's really all I have for the Brooklyn Nets so far. All right, so now I'm going to take a quick little break, and I'll be back after these messages.
This is WIUR Radio.
Hi, this is Anthony Carlo, TV news reporter in New York City and proud alum. If you're looking for a career in media, Iona is the place to be. From internships to real-world experience, Iona's media program is unprecedented. Take it from an industry professional who made it in the biz.
Now back to WIUR, Iona University Radio.
All right, so now I'm going to be talking about the New York Knicks. I'm not going to lie, the recent game they just played, which of course was against the Cleveland Cavaliers, was actually one of the biggest games of the beginning of the season. Basically, it is two, I will say probably the two best teams in the East fighting it out in the Garden. I'm not going to lie, the Knicks were they were shorthanded because they did not have Josh Hart, who's still out with the back problems from the preseason, and Mitchell Robinson. They actually said, it has been reported by Shams from ESPN that there is a real chance that Mitchell Robinson and Josh Hart are going to miss a very potentially a long time at the beginning of the season. I don't know what he really means about that. It could be anywhere from between 5 games to 10 games to 15 games. I don't know. But all I know is they kind of do need the rest. And I feel like they both will benefit from it. But the Knicks may lose some games because of that. But what they displayed on Wednesday against the Cavs is that this team is actually deep. They're deeper than last season's team. I'm not going to lie. Their new coach, Mike Brown, I was surprised that on the first game of the season, he actually used an 11-man rotation. We have not seen this when Thibodeau was coaching. When Thibodeau was coaching on opening night, we would not see 11 people play. We would actually literally see like maybe 8 or 9 people, mostly 8 people play on the first game of the season. And I'm like, you know what? This is the beginning of a new era for the New York Knicks. I'm not going to lie. Mike Brown is doing a good job with this team. I know it's been only one game, but I've already seen a significant growth of a lot of the players on the team. Like, for example, Tyler Kolek. He had a very shaky summer league, and his preseason was a little like inconsistent. But in the first game of the season, he showed up. He scored 7 points, had a couple assists. His defense still needs a little work, but it is what it is. With time, he will get better. But it looks like he's more confident in taking the shots, because I noticed he may have only hit 1 3, but he was being very aggressive, driving to the paint, scoring over Jared Allen. I'm not going to lie. That was actually kind of crazy. I thought he was going to get blocked, but yeah, Tyler Kolek, he is showing a very good improvement, a significant improvement over while being coached by Mike Brown. And I kind of like the way how Mike Brown is utilizing his rotation, because he kind of is bringing like that Golden State Warriors mentality, because I know he used to be an assistant coach for years under Steve Kerr, where they will play as much people as possible. I like that, because you're giving even the players who are even in the back of the bench time to grow and get more assimilated with with the way how the game moves. And it's like, I'm not going to lie. This is going to do good for the Knicks, because in future trades, they can trade some of their young players for good athletes, like better players. I'm not saying the Knicks should trade for Giannis. Heck no. I do not want Giannis on the Knicks. Like, reason being is because he's going to make it all about himself, and he's a rim runner. He can't shoot, can't hit free throws, and he's a bad decision maker in clutch moments. It's like you're bringing back Julius Randle. So I do not want the Knicks to trade for Giannis. But yeah, just develop your talent to either set them up for a trade or just have them become the future Knicks players. And that also was not the only thing that I saw from that game. Also from that Cleveland game, I've noticed that Brunson does not dribble. He's not really the main playmaker now on the team. Mike Brown is utilizing multiple players to bring the ball up. Like, I've mostly seen Bridges be like the main playmaker in certain situations. I'm not going to lie. I feel like because Mike Brown changed Bridges' role, Bridges is looking more like how he looked before he came to the Knicks, being more aggressive on offense, being more aggressive on defense. I feel like he loves playing under this new system. And also, another good thing I saw from that game is that Anunoby looks like he actually wants to be Defensive Player of the Year. Because I heard in the offseason that he felt that he was snubbed last year. So he's making it his personal mission to become Defensive Player of the Year. I'm not going to lie. He was blocking people's shots. He was getting steals, getting multiple deflections. Not only that, his offense was clicking. He was hitting his threes. They say he even had 14 rebounds, which, of course, tied his career high in rebounds. I'm not going to lie. That was actually not a bad game by Anunoby. And also, Towns played a decent game. He said he was suffering from some sort of like injury, like quad injury. I feel like he'll be all right, but maybe the Knicks should rest him for tonight's game because they are playing against Boston. Well, in terms of them, my prediction on the game today against Boston, the Knicks should beat Boston. Like, they do not have no Tatum. They got rid of Holiday. They got rid of Porzingis. Hornets signed with the Spurs. Horford signed with the Warriors. So you are literally playing against Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and a couple scrubs. Like, literally, you should literally destroy that team in the Garden tonight. Like, and they just lost at home to VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey. Like, literally. So you're really going to be playing against a demoralized, undermanned Celtic squad. You should at least beat them by 20 points. Like, I'm going to be honest. But we never know. Like, the Celtics can still surprise us, but I do not see that happening. I have the Knicks winning tonight. All right, so right now I'm going to be talking about Tom Thibodeau's comments about the Knicks. Okay, recently, like in the beginning, earlier this week, I saw a post where Thibodeau visited the Celtic practice facility, and he was talking to the players and the coaches. And apparently, Jaylen Brown, he revealed in an interview that Thibodeau gave them a lot of tips about how he used certain methods against the Celtics when he was coaching the Knicks. So it's like, in my mind, I'm like, Thibodeau, why are you giving the Celtics advice on how to beat the Knicks? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Well, yes, I get that you're upset because apparently he said he felt betrayed because he said he'd done so much for the franchise and they threw him under the bus. Okay, Thibodeau, I could give you this. Yes, thank you for making the Knicks a relevant team. Thank you for bringing the winning culture back to the New York Knicks. But like all good things, everything must come to an end. Your time in New York was over. You were expendable. Like, I'm not going to lie. Your time was done. Like, yes, the Knicks were doing good, but after they made the conference finals, the expectation was the finals. But I'm not going to lie. After you caused the blunder that happened in the first game, because allowing Nesmith to hit all them damn threes, I'm not going to lie. It kind of cost you your job. And the fact that you never wanted to make any adjustments or even play your bench. Look, the Knicks have Mike Brown, someone who actually coached under an actual like championship coach. He won multiple championships as an assistant coach. He even coached some of the greatest players like Kobe Bryant and LeBron, for crying out loud. And he actually is more willing to play his bench than you. So, Thibodeau, this is what I have for you. What you should do now is, instead of talking your smack about the Knicks, go look for a job. They are a couple college teams out here in the metropolitan area that would gladly have you as their head coach. Go coach a college team. Probably be like, for example, your career is probably on thin ice right now. So maybe what you should do is do the Pitino way. Go to a mid-major Division I school, coach the team over there, maybe bring that team from a losing team to a good team. And then after maybe 1 or 2 good seasons at the college level, you could go back to the NBA or whatever. That's all I have for you. And stop spreading rumors about the team. well, I'm not going to lie. It's not going to matter anyways because, you know, the Knicks have a different philosophy and your philosophy was out. It was outdated. So that's why you got fired. And these are my last words to Tom Thibodeau. Just move on and go on with your life. The Knicks are not going to rehire you. Like, I'm not going to lie. Just continue to look for a job, and I hope you find what you're looking for. All right, so now I have reached the conclusion of today's episode. It was a very entertaining episode, in my opinion. Talked a lot about the Knicks and certain other people like Thibodeau. So I will be back on next week, Friday. And this was a very, oh man, I can't believe I'm actually repeating, but this was a very fun time. So this is Mike Talks NY Sports. I'm Michael Walters. Have a good night and go Gales.